Greetings guys, it's Stiggy at the Guitar Loft here. Yeah, just a quick video, not going to keep it too long. Basically all I was going to do is, I'm refinishing the body here, as you can actually see. I'm going to do a little, it's about a 5 or 10 minute video, that's all really. It's quite self-explanatory this, but what I'm doing is I'm using a wood dye to obviously dye the wood on this Telecaster that you can see here. Not going for any paint on it, don't really like painting guitars, but you know, because it's much nicer having it natural. I'm using a Rustin's wood dye here, really nice and robust. I'm just going to give you, basically the lowdown on what you need to do. Obviously, you need to sand the living crap out of it. I've already raised the grain on it. You can see a video on that. I'll try and do something like that, but I've already done it. This was just a spur of the moment thing. So what you need to do is thin the Rustin's down. I shall show you this. Here we go, you can see it here. I mean, you can use it neat, but to be entirely honest with you, it's better to do it thin down. So I just use a normal thinners, like a methylated spirit or something, and I do it 60-40 for the first one, 60% dye to about 40% terps. And basically you can either use a lint-free cloth, but if you can't get hold of one of these, just like a kitchen scourer, obviously don't use the back of it because we're trying to do it cheaply. And basically the aim of the game on this one is just to go as lightly as you can. I'm trying to do this here, and try and go with the grain. Yeah, try not to finish a stroke in the middle of the guitar. You always want to end. Do you know what I mean? You always want it either in the pickup cavity or something like that, but try not to leave. So basically you don't want to do this and finish here because you'll end up with a big blob and a line. So you want to go all the way to the end. Try and work your way off. It's going to take a couple of coats of this. Generally what I tend to do is I'll go a little bit. I'll do 60-40 and then I might do an 80% 20 mix as well. And as you can see, it comes up quite nice. The more layers that you put on, the darker it gets. All you got to basically do after you've done this layer is just let it dry for a little while. Then it's up to you how you decide to put it on. You can either put a urethane finish over the top if you want it nice and durable. But me, I'm going to probably linseed oil over the top of this, I think, because I like the way it looks and I like the feel of natural wood. So I'll do another video in a bit of the way that it looks after a bit of linseed oil. But like I said, nice and simple, just only a little bit at a time, work your way in, let it dry, give it a rub over again to take the excess off with another cloth, and then reapply. Try not to put on too much at once or it will raise the grain. They say that it's it won't raise the grain on some of this rusting stuff, but you can never trust it. But as you can see, it's turning out absolutely beautiful. It's looks really, really nice, to be fair. And guess what? This one's actually mine. It's the first body that I've bought for a long time, but I'd actually seen it and the grain was lovely, and it was cheap enough. So I'm doing it for me, this one. So there we go. I'll cut back in a little while once it's actually dry. There we go. Okay guys, so it's had 2 coats of the dye now, and left it about an hour and 20 minutes in between each coat. It's pretty dry now actually, as you can see. Basically what you want to do after that, after it's completely dry and you've put 2 coats on, well, it's up to you, you can put as many coats on as you like, in waiting as long as you like in between. Take yourself any type of a sponge or a cloth or basically a lint-free cloth, something that's not going to leave dust or crap or fibres all over it, and then just give it a good rub down. And then what you'll tend to find is, I think you can just about see it here, yeah, there we go, yeah. So you take all the excess off. Like I said, take as much time with this as you like, yeah. I don't want any paint on this at all, so therefore I'm going to need to put some sort of layer of protection on it. Now, you can either use some gunstock oil, which is good stuff. It's good for your neck. It's also good for guitars as well. I will say it doesn't. offer any protection when it comes to dings or anything like that, but what it does, oops, excuse the beep, but what it does do is it just keeps the wood from cracking, it keeps it from warping, it keeps it with a little bit of moisture, and the good thing about it, it gives its own, it ages, and that's basically what I want with this. So the wood will change with years, and also obviously because you're not putting a lacquer over it or anything like that, what you're going to find is you can reapply it, you can make it darker, you can change it, you know, it just has its own little character, and that's the good thing. So what I'm going to do as a layer of protection over the top is use linseed oil. Yeah, it's kind of a poor man's gunstock oil, I suppose, but it's been used for a long time. It's a natural extract, this one, but it does come with some advisories, people, before I go into it. Linseed oil is quite dangerous in the fact that make sure you do it in a ventilated place, obviously yada yada yada, exactly the same as any other paint. But the thing about it is, if you use a rag or use a sponge or something like that, don't leave them crumpled up. You've got to dispose of them properly, because linseed oil heats up, yeah, when it's in a confined place, and it can be prone to combustion. Yes, spontaneous combustion. So you could find your shed, your garage, whatever, or your workbench on fire if you leave them around. So really, what you need to do before you throw the rags in the bin is soak them in water, or you can burn them somewhere safe or whatever. It's up to you. But soak them in water for a decent length of time before you put them in the bin. But don't leave them crumpled up, because otherwise that can happen. You have been warned. Anyway. So, the linseed oil is exactly the same application really as the wood dye. I've thinned it down. First coat is 60% linseed, 40% turpentine, and it's quite a runny mixture really. And all it does is it rubs in like so. Same again, liberal amount, and like I said, finish at the end of the guitar. Yeah, don't finish in the middle, or you will be left with a line. There we go. Simple as that. You know, just keep wiping it in. Your first coat is basically finished when the wood can't take any more, when it's completely saturated. It'll go an absolutely beautiful colour. It looks really dark now, but it'll actually ease itself off as it dries. You can leave it for a couple of hours after that and give it another coat. Take your sponge, same thing, and wipe the excess off, and then do it again, and then do it again. It takes about 24 hours to go off properly, touch dry. It never actually goes rock solid. Yeah, so you're not going to get a lacquered finish off this. I mean, you can buff it if you like, it will get a nice shine, depending on how many coats you put on it. But the good part about it is, like I said, it changes with age. You know, I've got a beautiful spot up here. I know this is actually a two-piece body, this one, but it was cheap enough, and for what I wanted to do, there was no point in actually making one. So, nice and easy this. Like I said, you've heard me prattle on for a while about how to do this. Always end at the end stroke like that. Yeah. Keep it nice and even. Do your sides, do your back. It's worth mentioning, try and give slightly more attention to the areas that you think are going to be played. Give it a bit more protection that way, such as down here, up at the back here, on the sides, around here, this kind of area. Basically where your arm's going to be, do you know what I mean? Because it will wear off, and then you'll have to recoat it and stuff like that. But to be fair, they sound better when they're not painted. I mean, some people might argue different, but I personally think if you don't put paint on them, they sound much, much better, and they have a lot more character. I'm prepared to get a load of comments that say, no, they make absolutely no difference, but I'm telling you, they do. So there we go. So like I said, leave it about an hour and a half, then wipe the excess off, and then reapply. Keep your sponges clean, or keep your tack cloths clean. You can, with linseed oil, also use a soft brush, You can use a soft bristled paintbrush if you wish, but I think with these kind of sponges and stuff, you get slightly more control, and you get a feel actually of when it's starting to get dry. It's like this is starting to get dry now, so I can tell that it's actually saturated. It's not quite saturated yet, so it needs another coat. But I'm going to do the back first. And that's it, guys. So it's nice and easy, do what you need to do, and you're laughing, aren't you? But it's nice. I'm going to do the neck as well, because it's just something that I've been playing around with, been toying around with. But the wood dye is the same as everything, Start off with it thinned, and then just do it to taste, basically. It's the same if it's blue, it's the same if it's black. If you're doing black, guys, a little note of warning on black. You can buy the black stain, straight off, but it has a tendency to go a bit coppery coloured. It's just something that happens when you actually stain things black, stain wood black. So you're better off going over it first with a blue. Yeah, you heard me correctly, a blue. And that just something in the pigment changes it slightly. Let that go off and then go over it with a black, and then you will get a nice black. And if you buff it, you'll get all your grain to come through. Also, with a red or a green dye, it's a good idea to actually bleach the wood first, because they are slightly more transparent than any of the others. But yet again, that's down to taste. So there you go, guys. That's how you do it. I'm probably going to get some comments saying, "Oh, I missed this bit out," but put them in the comment section. If you've got any ideas for videos, please help me. I'm running out of ideas here, guys. So come on, look after yourself. Bye.